What is energy? Like,
What is energy?
yeah.
So it's frequency and vibration, and we are all energetic beings. So, even before we all feel physical, we feel heavy, we feel our bodies. But if you think about how the body is made up of cells and what we all learned in school, you've got a nucleus and a mitochondria and some other stuff, but mostly we're just space. And so energy is the frequency and the vibration of that space that we can tap into and connect to and heal ourselves on all kinds of different levels other than just the physical level.
It's hard to conceptualize that we're more space or energy than matter.
Right.
How do you get your head around that?
I mean, I think all of us have a capacity to feel energy. When you walk into a room, you go, oh, this feels great here. Or, ooh, something feels a bit off. Or you meet somebody and you think, oh my gosh, I feel like I've known Heather my whole life. She lights up a room. She's bright and joyful. Or, I just met this person and I just don't connect or resonate with them. So I think it's tapping into that. That is 100% energy and what we can tap into. That again is very different than physical.
So different than physical. So you mentioned heaviness. And so what is that heaviness when we feel that in our body?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think it can be a number of different things. One, it can be our intuition trying to tell us something, right? It can be our body's reaction to an energy, whether that's I'm not aligned to this person, or I shouldn't be here, or this isn't aligned to my highest purpose, right? If we sometimes start to feel that, it can also be we'll probably talk about could be trapped emotion, so it could be signaling things in your body that want to come up to be healed. For me, I call them taps. It's kind of the tap tap tap, we're trying to get your attention. And oftentimes I have a physical reaction in my body that just kind of alerts me to start asking questions like what I just, is this a good place for me to be? Does this person have good intentions? Or am I overreacting and I'm in my head and I need to move out of my head?
Okay. Okay. So you mentioned trapped emotions. Explain that for me. So many
Yep.
people, right? I was raised to believe that you feel something and it's gone, or you don't feel something and it's gone.
Yep.
And and to not even really express true emotion. I
Or to suck it up and push them
yes,
down, I think.
I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was either too happy and too excited, or if I was upset, oh, don't you dare express any kind of discontent. And so this idea of a trapped emotion, it would not have made sense to my parents' generation. What
Right.
what is it?
Right. Yeah, so it's energy and it's a frequency. So all emotions have a frequency and a vibration, and there's a pyramid of frequencies, and the lower emotions have a lower vibration. So if we are frightened, scared, angry, um sad, they all have a lower vibration and a frequency. And unfortunately, you are spot on. Our society, and for us, our generation, we're similar ages, it was the stop it, Helen, suck it up, move on, get back out on the field, stop crying, or you're too much. And so when we're told those things, it's a trauma. It's a trauma experience. And so we take that emotion, we don't know how to process it, and we shove it down in our bodies. And we subconsciously are kind of sitting on, unfortunately, hundreds of trapped emotions. But there are oftentimes several or a few that have such a frequency and a vibration that they are buzzing around in our body and creating a state of dis-ease or disease that ultimately, if we don't process it or handle it, could manifest in a physical manifestation.
Is there a place in the body where they hang out most? Like, I'm just curious, like, if
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
is it
So
something
if
different?
So people that follow in Chinese medicine, if people have done acupuncture, acupressure, there are meridians and organs associated with different emotions. So, anger, frustration, resentment typically is held in the liver. Worry, fear is your kidneys. Heartbreak, heartache, your heart. Grief is in your lungs. And then I can feel them with the work that I do we could talk a little bit about how we clear them, but as I work to clear them, I can feel them in people's energy centers, which are the chakra systems. So there's an alignment, but I can typically feel, if I'm upset, I'll feel it in my gut or my stomach. What I have found with the work I do, most of us have a spot in our body where we do feel things more intensely than, a lot of people, it's the gut. For me, it's actually my throat, right? My throat will clench up, or if I get sick, it's always my lymph nodes around my throat. So we have different energy centers and areas,
What?
oftentimes tied to areas that we have either shut down or forced our way through.
Why do you think that is? That, we'll either hold things in our throat or our chest or what? I'm just so curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it is potentially our wounding, right? And it sounds like we had a similar childhood or background, right? Helen, you're too much. Be quiet, stop talking. So that's your voice, that's your throat. It's why so many women have thyroid issues. And there's an imbalance in not using our voice, not speaking up, not speaking our truth. um and I see that a lot in our healing center with so many women where we have just shut ourselves down to either conform, to fit in, or to people please and not ruffle any feathers.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about your past. I am interested in the clutter, right? And so for you, what was the clutter, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, that was blocking you from becoming the person you are today?
Yeah. So I'm a hugely emotional person and an empath. And an empath is somebody who feels other people's emotions. And so for years, I had my own intense emotions, but I also took on everybody else's emotions and everybody else's feelings without knowing that they weren't mine. And so I would say I had an excess of emotional clutter, some mine, some not mine. Um and so I grew up in a British family with quite reserved British parents where it was, be quiet, be appropriate, fit in this box. um, I had an eating disorder, so when I was 12, I was hospitalized with anorexia, and then that pivoted into bulimia and binge eating disorder, and I think that for me was, it was a coping mechanism to try and numb the pain and the emotions that I was feeling, or give me mind and mental clutter to obsess about something that really wasn't the root issue. I was creating another issue to mask and hide the things I really needed to deal with.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about the buffering that we do, right? We mask, we hide, we buffer. And so for so many of us, it's that emotional clutter that weighs us down and yeah, it makes things so heavy. Uh yeah, for me as well. I hold things in my throat. And
Right.
we have similar backgrounds as you mentioned. We both worked in corporate. I call it my corporate clutter. Uh
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
some good experiences, but I was mostly bored out of my mind.
Yes.
And asking myself, is this really it? And I felt empty. And I remember my husband asking me at one point, Heather, please just work 10 more years. and we'll be set. And I was like, would you do this for 10 more years? No way. And I'm so glad I spoke my truth in that moment. But I must have not spoken my truth for decades since
Right.
childhood.
Right.
And I'm so curious about your take because my trachea, which is my windpipe,
Yep.
is how we breathe, not my esophagus. That's how we eat. But with my trachea, right below the vocal cords, the opening is blocked over 80% right now by scar tissue. And I've been told it was triggered by toxic mold, like a lot of my other symptoms.
Right. Right.
Um, but also, I have to believe that me not speaking my truth or suppressing myself absolutely played a role as well. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other intuitive message I'm getting or hit is, I mean, it's all about the breath, right? Breath of life. And it's minimizing yourself and minimize to make room for everybody else. Right? So it's the I'm going to shut myself down and make myself small to make room for these other people with big energy or people that I'm told need more attention than I need or need more things than I need. And so I'm going to minimize my breath of life. Right? I mean, that might be something for you to look into as well. And then the scar tissue is the wounding of that. So what's the both the energetic and the physical scars and wounds that has left.
You nailed it. You nailed it. I thought other things going on in my life with other people that those things were more intense and heavier. And so I just tried to just hold it all in.
Hide, move over, Heather. You got to make room for everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was in corporate for 27 years and I had similar messages. Well, like, what are you going to do if you're not in corporate and you have to earn a living and and I was supporting somebody as well in my life. And it was, you have to fit in this little box. And you have to behave a certain way and act a certain way. And when I look at you, I see this bright, just this energy like bursting at the seams that wants to come out but we've been taught to stay small. So I think it's your opportunity to,
Oh, yes. I will say close to 10 years ago is when I left corporate. I didn't know what I was walking into. I was kind of jumping into the unknown.
yeah.
One of the best decisions of my adult life. I have never felt more fulfilled, uh, and know I'm living my purpose. And so, yes, and at the same time, we still all are on healing journeys.
Yes.
And the more I learn about emotions from you and from others, the more I realize that this is really where my healing, my real true healing, is going to come. And so, knowing that emotions can lead to, or trapped emotions can lead to dis-ease or disease, and it certainly has in my case, uh, how do we begin to trust that we can feel these emotions? And how do we feel the emotions? How do we move through them so that we can get to the other side?
Yeah. I mean, I think so much of the work I do is around giving ourselves permission to let them the way I describe it, it's like a balloon filled with air that if we just acknowledged the emotion and kind of popped it with a pin and let it fly off, we'd be in much better shape than denying it, ignoring it, and pushing it down. And the analogy I use is pushing a balloon underwater. And if you've ever tried to do that, it's really hard and it takes a ton of energy. And I mean, I was in there with the eating disorder. I did therapy for years. I could talk about my issues till I was blue in the face, right? I'm really good at compartmentalizing and keeping everything up in my head. This is really about where are these emotions and where is this stuck in your body, or where do you not feel safe in your body? And so, one of the techniques I use is the emotion code, which is helping to clear them out. I love that as a modality for people that are new to energy work, because most people can wrap their head around the fact that, like, okay, yes, I've experienced emotions, and yes, I can envision them trapped in my body. I do other lots of other things as well. But the initial is like, let's just get it out. Like, you don't have to relive the trauma or the experience. It's just let's pull the frequency and the vibration out of the body, and then work to infuse new frequencies, which we can use, sound healing. We have frequency devices. I do other energy work to start to entrain your body to know and understand those higher vibration frequencies, love, enlightenment, those kinds of things.
So if somebody's ready and saying, yes, I have trapped emotions. I think I know where they are. I want to pull them out. How do I do that? What, what is the first step?
Yeah. So the work I do is I tap into your subconscious. So I use muscle testing, but we do it remotely, just as easily. And the cool part about it is I might know what the emotions are, but a lot of times, people are like, "Well, I think it's X, Y, and Z," and it turns out has nothing to do with that. There are other things and other emotions that, or we can inherit emotions, right? We think we got enough of our own baggage, but guess what? Typically mom and dad have passed some things on to us, or there's ancestral lineage that we can pull out as well. So I use muscle testing to kind of ascertain. I have a chart of 60 different emotions, and it's going through that chart and finding what your body, or it's your soul, it's your innate wisdom and knowledge, is saying. I know what the problem is, but the 10% of my brain that I use on a daily basis doesn't want to admit it or acknowledge it. But the 90% that is either, it's like the computer system, it's the whole back end of the computer system, has this innate wisdom and knowledge that we just typically don't tap into. So for me, it's tapping into that, identifying the emotion, and then, with the emotion code, it's pulling it. We have a governing meridian that goes from the tip of our nose up our head and back down our spine. So it's pulling it out through that meridian.
Okay. Okay. You mentioned muscle testing. And so for somebody who's never heard of that before, can you give a quick little
Yep, yep.
description?
So muscle testing it's circuitry in our body. So if you go back to the whole thought of we're energetic beings and creatures, when something is aligned in our body, our energy spins in a clockwise direction. When something is not aligned, it'll spin counterclockwise. And so in person in the healing center, I actually hold people's feet, and I'll ask yes or no questions, and someone's foot, when the energy starts spinning clockwise, their left foot will get a smidge longer and heavier. Or chiropractors use the arm test, right? Where somebody puts their arm out, and if they can resist the push down or the electric circuitry breaks, then that's a sign for a yes or no. The other method we use a lot is a pendulum. So a pendulum will spin in a clockwise direction when something is aligned, or it'll go counterclockwise. So it's a way to bypass the monkey mind and again, I think I know, to get past that and just tap into your innate wisdom and knowledge.
Okay. Okay. And you also mentioned ancestral trauma. And something personally that I found out that was really interesting is one of my relatives, uh, a long time ago, was hung in Boston, uh, because she went against the Puritan beliefs.
Yep.
And um, she was a midwife, got a bit of a following because she was around a lot of
Wow.
people,
Yeah.
and she was hung. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, well, wait a second. I feel like I've had a noose around my neck for 7 years. And so I also wonder if there's a little bit of that
Ugh,
that
that
is
just gave me
influence.
yeah, I twitch when something is aligned. Some people shiver or get goosebumps, and I start twitching, and that made me twitch. So yeah, I mean, I think it's compounded, right? And I think many of us are the healers of our families. Like we have come in to clear and heal this ancestral baggage and this lineage that we don't even realize we have. So, I mean, that makes total sense to me.
I heard somebody say once that you can heal moving, you can heal
Evan.
generations behind us as
Yeah.
well as generations in front of us. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah. So it's you just tip the a phrase I've heard 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. Um, I
I
think the
But
way
the
I
way I
see it energetically, it's like a thread. It's this ancestral thread. And so the same way that you inherit physical characteristics, the color of your hair, the color of your eyes, your voice, you inherit these ancestral characteristics as well. I mean, I will say the thing I see all the time, again, particularly for women, that shows up is worthiness. And, a lot of women will say, well, yeah, that makes sense. And I'm like, great, let's clear it for you. But guess what? This isn't just yours. You came in carrying this backpack of heaviness, of ancestral trauma, and when I muscle test, I can test how many generations back it goes, and I've seen it go back 10, 11, 12 generations.
Wow.
So as I'm clearing it, I see this kind of pulling out threads, um, and wires of this ancestral sort of baggage, right? It's cellular memory that is passed on, and I hope the other thing I heard that was fascinating is, you're in the womb, you're living in the womb of your mother for, 9, 10 months, and your mother, energetically was like her eggs were in her mother, right? So there literally is this physical thread as well of us sitting and swimming in other people's emotional trauma and other people's emotions that goes way back as well.
So what this is leading me to think is what the heck was going on in my grandmother's life when she was pregnant with my mom? And
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And her mother, and her mother, and her
yeah,
mother. Yeah.
yeah, the impact is massive. Um, it is. It's so big. And so help connect the dots for me um with energy and emotions and the nervous system, trauma. Connect some of that for me.
Yeah. The way I describe it to people, if you think about if you go through something that is traumatic and you're in shock or panic, and you take that emotion and what is that? You lose your breath, you can't breathe, you stuff that down because you don't know how to process it, or you're told to move on, right? That is a frequency and a vibration that is now buzzing in your system. So just imagine that constant buzz of shock, panic, trauma. So how could we possibly ever truly move into our parasympathetic nervous system of sort of that rest and digest when we have taken the physicality of the shock and the trauma, which is fight or flight, right? So it's how can you ever truly calm your nervous system down without removing or peeling off some of that baggage?
Wow. Wow. And so you mentioned emotion code as one tool um, in terms of releasing some of that baggage.
Yep.
What are some of the other things that we can do?
Um, well, another thing I love to do with people, it's called a soul retrieval. So again, we're all energetic beings and we have souls. When we experience a trauma or a shock to the system, oftentimes a piece of us actually fragments off and spins up and out. It's like this doesn't feel good. I don't like this. I'm out of here. And so we can tap in and kind of figure out what, again, lots of us have fragmented souls. It's happened to all of us. But, what I say to people is, again, wouldn't it be great to have all of your resources and feel whole to be able to heal versus doing it with, half a soul or a quarter of a soul? So the soul retrieval is tapping into somebody's energy and going to those times or areas in their life where they may have spun up and out. And it could be something as little as, when was the first time that you didn't feel worthy? Or when was the first time you were told to be quiet and stop talking? And more often than not, people like if we were doing a session, you might be like, 4, right? It'll just pop into your head. And then we wanna go back to that 4-year-old Heather and talk to her and convince her that it's safe to come back. And
Mm.
it's going and retrieving that piece of your soul that's spun up and out and fragmented off to come back into your body. And the cool thing about that, I get a lot of people that are like, I never feel grounded, or I always feel flighty, or I don't feel safe. Um, and again, that makes total sense to me. How would you feel safe if you're not bringing all of your resources to bear, or if at a part in your life, a piece of you spun up and out? So it's bringing that back in and creating a more solid foundation or playing field for you to heal with.
What percentage of people do you think are are not feeling integrated or not feeling in their body? I think I spent most of my life not feeling like I was
Yeah.
in my body.
I don't
And
know. I mean, I think most of us, and especially those of us that are more sensitive, that it's much easier. I spend a lot of time in my head or have kind of, oh, it's much easier to be up here than it is to feel my body. Um, and I spent a lot of time beating up my body and telling it was terrible and ugly and awful. Um, but part of that is because I've never felt safe in my body for the things that I've experienced. So I mean, I think we all have everybody has trapped emotions. I would everybody's got soul fragments. It's just how many fragments and how willing are we to integrate them. And you can live your life with a fragmented soul. It's not that you couldn't have a fulfilling life, but whoa, how much more amazing could it be if you brought all your pieces back together?
let's talk about that. So, in at School of Living Lighter, we like to talk about the lighter path, and that gets to mean whatever you want to make it mean. And so, for you, what does that lighter path? What does that mean? What does that entail?
Well, and when I know lighter is probably physical. It's bringing all of your resources and your brightness and your light, your soul light, out and to the forefront. So lighter for me is, about authenticity and us having the courage to show up as our true authentic selves and shedding the baggage and the clutter of, the doubt, the self-sabotage, the not feeling like enough. So it's getting rid of those limiting beliefs and bringing the light and vibrancy back into your life.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I think that's such a beautiful description. I love it. And so, what is something that you do to to keep yourself on the lighter path, or to remind yourself of its potential? What do you do maybe on a daily basis or
Yeah,
not?
I think for me, my belief is we all have a divine energetic blueprint. And so it's this blueprint that we've all been gifted in life that we sometimes lose sight of or don't tap into. And so one of the practices I've been doing every morning is aligning myself to my divine energetic blueprint. And it's almost like I see it coming down and kind of lighting up my body and all the cells in my body. Because if my cells and my soul are truly aligned to their path and their purpose, there's no room for any of the other muck or anybody else's stuff.
Yes, and the muck and other people's stuff, that's all clutter, right? It's clutter.
Totally
It's
clutter.
distraction.
Yes. Yes, and we all have bags and bags of it, right? And we're holding stuff for other people. I mean, the other thing I'll share is you can't heal somebody else. Like, I see so many like mothers that are like, "Oh, my son or my daughter is in pain. I want to take it for them." And you can't. So when you take it, you are creating a carbon copy or a mirror image of it. So you're holding it, you're holding the clutter and the muck, but so are they. So, it's where you've got to put your own oxygen mask on first, and you've got to take care of yourself and then create ways to be supportive and compassionate without taking on other people's things.
You know what else I see as a parent? I see if I try and do that for my kids, I then rob them of the experience, the lesson,
Yeah.
the gift.
Yeah.
And so I remind myself, like, it's okay for my kids to feel their emotions. I can provide a safe home, a safe place. And yeah, I see that happening. So, I mean, even with myself, I see that happening where we try and protect them. But that's interesting that really all we're doing, as you say, is creating a mirror of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And it's
another image. So you've got to deal, and you can't resolve it for them. So again, you're creating that heaviness and that extra clutter and that extra baggage in your life that then is sabotaging you and your energy, and it makes you less able to support them on their journey anyway.
okay. I have one more energy question for you. Our energy field. We have energy fields. I hear horses have massively large energy fields, I think. Uh, explain, how does that tie into this?
Yeah, so we all have an energy field and it's multiple layers wide. So if you stretch your arms out, it kind of goes up and around you. It's like a big golden egg. And your physical body is the first layer of that energy field, and it goes out a couple inches outside of the body. And then there's an emotional layer of the energy field. And then there's mental, which is your beliefs, the beliefs and the mental patterns you have. And then there's an astral field, which is the connection between us and our physical body and then the spiritual realms. So we're all walking around with this golden egg. But, when we have trauma and different things, sometimes we shrink our energy fields, or they get clouded and mucky. So, to me, that's that bring calling in the divine blueprint. If I can call in that foundation and that light of who I'm meant to be and what I'm meant to do, it's going to start pushing that energy out and clearing the other fields.
Okay, and the way you explain it, the golden egg, and it just, yeah, it's dynamic. It's not static.
No,
It's
yeah, it's constant. Like
evolving with
people
us.
might be auras, like some people see auras or see things. It's why you can feel people when you walk into a room before you get anywhere near them. It's because our energy fields are starting to bump up against each other and kind of bounce against each other.
Hey, on a side note, do you have any suggestions if you kind of bump up to somebody who's got kind of a heavy energy field and you love them anyway, what is your suggestion for not letting their energy pull you down?
Yeah. I mean, one, I clear my energy every day. Well, the other thing you can do is continue to bolster your energy field. Or I tell people, I know Teflon is gross and not good, but I'm like, imagine your Teflon that if someone's stuff comes at you, just see it fall off you. Or I've heard other people say, imagine you're a disco ball. So as their energy comes at you, you're gonna ping their energy off you, in your
While
sparkly
you
way.
sparkle. Yes,
Right, yeah,
exactly.
exactly, while you sparkle.
While you sparkle. Oh, I love that visual. I love that. Um, oh, this has been so much fun. Is there is there anything else you feel our viewers and listeners um, should know or it would benefit them to know when it comes to energy and emotions and clearing the heaviness?
Yeah, I think right now, just the world we are living in, we are all most of us are energetic sponges, and those of us that have had chronic issues or have had, are trying to declutter and trying to get rid of things in our life. It's recognizing what is yours and what isn't. And, for years I was in HR, so, I was people were coming and dumping their baggage at my doorstep and I would just take it on, and then wonder why I felt so heavy or wondered why I had no energy. So a lot of times it's just checking in and asking, is this mine?
Mm.
And all you have to do is take the first pop that pops into your head. I mean, I do it as I drive to the healing center. If I don't feel great, I'm like, is this mine? And more often than not, I hear nope in my head. And I go, okay, thank you for the information. Go away. Right? That's not mine to hold. And it's, we can control certain things in our life and we can't control so it's protecting yourself. It's recognizing if something is not yours to hold, letting it go and just sort of seeing it shower down off you and into the earth.
Mm. And that's such a beautiful way to take back your agency by just saying, oh, not mine.
Not
Let it,
mine.
permission
Yeah.
to let it go.
Yeah.
And you maintain agency and you're able to show up intentionally the way you want to. I love that.
Absolutely.
Uh, tell us more about the Healing Center.
So we have an in-person healing center in Charlotte, North Carolina, but I actually love to do remote work. So we do some holistic health and help people with, the physical and health issues, but more often than not, most of them started on an energetic or emotional level. So that's the work that I do. And we do clearing work for people and bolstering people's energy. We've got a membership program and we're going to start teaching classes. We all have the ability to tap into energy, to feel energy. It's just starting to become aware of it if we haven't had that opportunity before.
I want to just put a little plug in. Helen has done some energy clearing for me, and I felt so light afterwards, just like I could float. And so Helen, I love the work that you do. I think it's so useful. So many of us are walking around feeling so heavy, so stressed, so burdened, and it doesn't have to be that way. And it starts by tuning in, asking yourself, what am I holding? Is it mine?
Is it mine? Yep.
Yeah, yeah, and where in the body?
Yeah.
And I love it. And so, if how do we find out more about you? Where do we go?
Yeah. So we have a website, which is divinehealthalliance.com, or we are on social media. So, same thing, Divine Health Alliance on Instagram and Facebook. And we're trying to do more on Instagram, little snippets teaching people about energy. So, my business partner, Jen, who you know well, Jen Payer, we want to make it fun and relatable and do it in a grounded way, right? It doesn't have to be woo woo, and like this is real stuff and we all have access to tap into it. So follow us on Instagram and we kind of keep doing the snippets and teaching people about it and give you tips and techniques of how to clear your own energy.
I am a big fan of the work that the two of you do. My life is lighter because I've met the both of you.
Oh.
And so thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, for giving us a glimpse of the potential that we all have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. And you are one big bright light yourself. So thank you for having me, and go disco sparkle.
Yes, I love that image. That is, and we can all access that image too.
Absolutely.
We
Yeah.
can all sparkle. So
Yeah.
here's to the sparkling. Thank you, Helen.
You're so welcome.
Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, give us a like and share with friends who could use some lightness. Don't forget to follow our page for daily doses of living lighter. And remember, if it feels light, it's right.